Hey guys, and welcome to another season of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and in this season, we uncover the remarkable power of genuine compassion and insightful vision. This season, we're here to show the world that we, as individuals, are the brand, regardless of misconceptions. Join us as we go deep into the inspiring journeys of our guests, each one a testament to the impact and influence of kindness and creativity. Don't just take my word for it. Hear their stories, feel their passion, and discover the transformative potential within us all. So stay tuned as we shine a light on the truths that connects us and inspires change.
Hey, this is Walt, the founder of the world's first fitness fantasy role-playing game, and you're listening to the Us People podcast with Savia Rocks.
Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Us People podcast. I'm your host, Savia Rocks, and today I have the beautiful and humble Walter here with me. He is the founder, lead designer, and master wizard of the world's first science-backed fitness fantasy RPG with over 15 years of XP, transforming lives through physical mastery, nutritional optimization, mental performance, and gamified behavioral design. Now that is a lot for anybody to be able to take in. So this podcast is going to be one of those podcasts where we go really deep into what Walter does to understand it, to nurture it, but more than anything else, for you guys who are listening to understand that fitness can be fun, because I've got loads of questions when it comes to fun and understand the science of fitness. But Walter, first of all, thank you so much for taking your time to come on the Us People podcast. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm so excited to introduce this brand new concept to your audience and anyone who's listening, because it's completely transformed my life, and it has transformed many, many people's lives. And I believe this is something that is close to my heart, close to my soul, and I'm excited to dive deep into that with you.
I love that. So my first question for you, Walter, is could you tell me about yourself, first of all, where you grew up and how that influenced you to be the person who you are today?
Yeah, so I grew up in the States, in a town called Jackson, New Jersey. I believe there's a New Jersey out in the UK somewhere.
There is. There is.
Yeah, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it's a small town, but it's interconnected to a lot of the big attraction is amusement park. Six Flags Great Adventure is the big amusement park over in that area, and I had very, very humble beginnings. I was very fortunate to have a really, really awesome upbringing. My father is a former Air Force major, and so I have military background. He's taught me a lot of discipline. He really gave me the tools for me to kind of pave my own way in this world that we live in. And I have a beautiful mother who was born and raised, again, humble beginnings in Panama City. She grew up in the slums, really grew up in poverty, with six other brothers and sisters.
Wow.
And so big family. And she met my father, who was stationed in Panama, and they actually had me in Okinawa, Japan.
Wow.
Yes, Okinawa, Japan. So there's always this part of me that always is gravitating towards. You ever know that feeling of like going back to your homeland?
Yeah. So you're technically Japanese.
Well, no one in my family is Japanese, but I like to say I'm Japanese at heart.
Yeah, Japanese are no, even so. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and I have not been there ever since. So it's something that I want to experience when I'm not, a baby. But one of my first, fun fact, one of my first memories I've ever had in my life was of a dragon. And the reason why
Mhm.
is my mother took me to a festival, and the only image I remember is just one of those decorative Japanese dragons, when
Yes.
someone's in the
Yeah.
dragon head. That's the first thing I remember. And I just remember this. What is this? I just can't. I don't. What best way I could describe the feeling is I wasn't scared. It wasn't fear.
You was embraced by it.
Yeah, it was almost
Mhm.
like a angelic creature to me, and that's the only feeling and image that I have of that moment. But that's just fun fact. But it has, being in a military family, having a mother who grew up in poverty, so we really were very frugal. Um, it taught me a lot about the value of life, the value of health, the value of family. And for me, that was something that was missing for a lot of my life because um, once I grew up and, got out the house and lived on my own,
Yeah.
I moved away from my family and I was on my own. So for me, having family ever since I was born and then disconnecting from that really taught me the value of family. And more importantly, it really shaped who I am as a person
Yeah.
from a health perspective. Because majority of my family members, from a health perspective, were stricken with a lot of health issues, obesity, alcoholism, you know, cancer, and it's been something that has driven me to focus on my own health and help others focus on theirs. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a little bit of my background and upbringing, just to begin the conversation.
No, I like it. No,
Yeah, yeah.
it's intriguing to know that it's funny because they always say the questions that you ask bring out the fundamental facts about people, and if you
Ooh, that's beautiful.
if you ask the right questions, you'll get some really beautiful, intriguing answers from them. Which leads
Questions
me,
lead to answers. I
there
love
you
it.
go, my dear. So my next one for you is, can you define yourself as a person? This is one of my favorite questions. But also, who do you see when you look in the mirror? But on the flip side of that question, has there ever been a time, Walter, where you have looked in the mirror and not recognized the person staring back at you? How did you manage to go from a person that you may not have liked, that you have manifested, to becoming a person that you feel had purpose in what you and only you wanted to do?
Wow, I love this question so much, and I'm going to start with the mirror question because
Mhm.
they say the eyes are the windows to the soul, right? But I feel like
Correct.
the mirror is the window to the truth.
Mm-hmm. I like
And
that.
when I there was a specific moment, and I love to tell this story because it's something that I share all the time, and it is when I was freshman in, I believe you all call it university.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
freshman in university. There we go. Um, and just like with anyone, drinking, partying,
Mm-hmm.
going wild.
Yeah, I know those.
For majority of my life, I was a straight A student, high honor roll all the time. Missed like less than 10 days of school total in like my career. Um, I failed my first class. I really went wild. I went crazy. And I had that moment where I lost myself, and I was grew up an athlete. I was active, but I also had that unhealthy habitual lifestyle of a gamer. So I
Yes.
grew up as a gamer. I still am a gamer today, 30 plus years strong. And it was always conflicting with one another. But once I got into university, it went right out the window. My health went right out the window. Mental health, physical health, you name it. And one day I decided to be like, okay, I'm going to work out. I'm going to work out today. And I was doing one of those home workout videos from Sean T.
Yes, I know
You know who
Sean
Sean
T.
T?
What?
Insanity.
That's the one. I do that one.
I did Sean T said he pulled it up. I used to always do that at home. I'm like, oh yeah, I've done this before. I could not go 10 minutes without being out of breath and sweating.
Wow.
And I never forget it. I tried to push myself to finish the video, and I made it about halfway through, stumbled into the bathroom on the brink of vomiting. And all I remember was leaning over the sink and looking at myself in the mirror. And I have to tell you, Savia, like who I saw was not who I ever want to see again. Because I saw someone that was destroying their potential. I was destroying my dreams. I was doing a lot of bad stuff, drugs, alcohol, you name it, things that I never was exposed. Well, I was exposed to some of that type of stuff, but I would never cross that line, you know. And I was disgusted. I was sad. I was afraid. I was depressed. And all of that, all of those feelings, all those emotions really rushed in to who I was seeing in the mirror. And it was that moment that changed the trajectory of my life because of one thing. I made a choice. And one choice truly can change the trajectory of your life, and it did for me. And that choice was to never be this person ever again.
Yes.
But what made that choice even more powerful is I decided to commit to not only bettering myself, but to help other people who were also struggling, who looked in the mirror and felt the same way that I did, who knew the people who knew that they can accomplish something greater, something better, something that they can be proud of, you know, to become truly the person that they believe they can be. That was a commitment. That was a choice that I made that day. And ever since that day, I dedicated the rest of my life to understanding this complex game-like thing that we call health and fitness.
See, this is the thing. I love it. I love this. Go on, keep going, keep going. I'm invested.
Yes. It was that moment that really kind of not just changed the trajectory. I know I emphasized that, but really tested my commitment to this purpose. Because that choice was just the catalyst. I needed to make that choice every single day. Right? I had to go through that process, go through those memories, go through those emotions over and over and over again. So for me, the person that I saw in the mirror that day was someone that I never saw again. And I'm grateful that I took a picture of that moment. I took a picture of that person and I share that picture all the time. I'm like, this is who I was. On the outside, you see someone who might be out of shape, right?
Yeah.
Out of shape, but mentally broken, absolutely broken. And I use that as a learning lesson, right? I use that as a reminder, and I use that to inspire other people that it truly is one choice. That's it. One choice, one moment of clarity, one moment of one perspective shift, something to really trigger you to go down that different path. So you might be, to answer your other side of that question, that flip side is, who did I want to be? You know, who did I want to become? Who am I? Right? And I've worked towards that person every single day. And there's a great word. I learned this from Ed Milet, and it's blissful dissatisfaction.
Oh.
And how I interpret that word is always in a constant state of bliss.
Yes.
I am alive. I have my father who overcame and beat cancer, which drove me to truly dedicate the rest of my life to the health and fitness lifestyle, and to help other people truly transform their body, their mind, and their spirit that way. I have endless potential from a
Yes.
creativity standpoint, from a physical standpoint, a career standpoint. There's nothing that's stopping me from going anywhere and doing anything that I wanted to do, which I have done so much of that, by the way. Um, and we could get into a little bit more of that a little bit later, but I truly wanted to manifest the person that was infinite, which is truly the essence of our brand name, which is infinite. And
Yes.
it's infinite, INFITNITE. And that T in there is silent for a reason. And this all ties into what we're talking about right now, is that silent transformation that is hidden deep within every single person. That's what it represents, because that is what was hidden inside of me, and I unlocked it. I truly transformed who I was, who I wanted to become, and who I
Yes.
believe that could be. So I hope that answered your question.
No, that 100% answered my question. Believe me, it did. I think it went around in all corners to answer the question. So I am abundantly grateful that you did. And one of the things that you spoke about when you said that you wasn't necessarily happy, the one thing over the years of talking to so many people I've learned is the insecurity of a person can make them develop into different things. And
Right.
another fundamental thing you said was about choice. I always tell people nothing in life is ever a mistake. And I'm sure people hear me say this on the podcast very often. Nothing in life is ever a mistake, because you can counteract that mistake as a lesson by making another choice.
Absolutely.
All
And
the
and just
time.
to piggyback off that, just examples I just gave, right? I made a choice when I looked in the mirror that day, right? I made a choice when I found out my dad was diagnosed with cancer, right? Because it was that moment that could break you, right? And it
Yeah.
did. And I could have went down a really different path of bitterness,
Yes.
right? Hatred, disgust, lack of belief in a higher power, But I decided to make a choice to do something else. And it was to use that as a way to go down a different path, as a sign, right? Something, this is happening for a reason. And it's up to me to create that reason and to discover it within myself.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I did. And that's where I am today.
See, and looking very healthy too, I must say.
I'm trying. I'm
And
leading by example.
do you know what it is? Sometimes I always say that there are many different beauties in a person. There is an inner beauty, an outside beauty, and there is both.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the inner beauty, I always believe inner beauties have an aura. We all have different color auras. And that kind of highlights who we are, what we're feeling, and why we're feeling that particular way in that moment. And when you make choices in your life, you always change color. And
Oh, yeah.
and this is what I like about being able to have conversations with people, because when you do have authentic, pure conversations with people from the heart, you realize how they're feeling or what they're feeling, even when they're saying it. So even if, for example, I say, how are you? And you say you're fine, but then I ask you again, how are you? And you say you're fine. I ask you a third time, and then you get more into the depth of who you are. That's when I get to really understand who you are and what you're really feeling. So the
I love
fact
it.
that you expressed, your dad having cancer, and you could have been, like you said, bitter, uncompassionate and all those things, but you said, no, Walter, this is who I am. You looked at yourself in the mirror and said, this is who I am. I don't want to be that person anymore because 10 years down the line, I don't even know if I'm going to be here. And like you say, if you have a family who suffer with illness, unfortunately, it's funny how it goes through the family in a different way. And I learned in life that stress causes a lot of illness.
Yes.
Because of your everyday
100%.
life. Just your everyday life. It could be anything. You could be stressing over the most simplest of things in your life. And somehow it takes a hold of your body. And you can be the fittest person in the world, but stress has no color. It has no name.
Nope.
It just affects you in a way. But finding, which I'll get to this question later on, but also finding peace is another form of you being able to be who you want to be. But before we get there, let's get to the fitness, which is one of the most positive things I find, because you've articulated it to me, even when I first met you, in a way that people can find fun, because I know there are so many different forms of being able to do fitness. My next question for you, Walter, is you have an abundant creative mind. Creative people are always judged by how they do things. But from your perspective, and only yours, I would love to know, where was you in an emotional state to say, I want to join this with this and make it fun and also help people in their lives?
Yet another question I love, in a powerful, powerful question, because it's that experience that I would never trade for anything else. It's one of those 1 in a million types of experiences. And you mentioned aura, right? And really pulling that out. And it was going through COVID. It was that experience that truly changed how I thought about creativity, how I accepted my creative self, was simply because I was working as a master trainer at the time.
Yes.
And in person, I just loved, having conversations, meeting people and interacting. And that was all taken away because gyms were shut down.
Yes.
So I had no creative outlet to share my skills and teach and create things for people, because I could not go see them anymore. So I had to make a pivot to online, which I fortunately was doing online as early as 2016. So I've been an online coach for a while, but I wasn't always the emphasis. So I had to make a radical shift, going from 95% in person to now 100% online, which was challenging, to say the least. And I have to say, during that time, people were not, they needed health, they needed fitness. There was so much uncertainty around health, but people were not willing to take risks. And unfortunately, when it comes to getting coaching, getting support, getting help, it's not free, right? So people weren't really open to investing into their health, because, at least in our country, we couldn't even get toilet paper, right? Like,
It's true. Yeah.
It was a wild time. But what really started really looking at fitness and my passion for gaming, right? Combining my purpose and my passion, was going through the experience of just having that reflection moment, kind of like what I had when I was in university. Is I was with my fiance. We were dating at the time, and we were living together. And I read a book called Limitless by Jim Quick. And it truly did unlock something in me, and I can't describe it. It's something unlocked in my brain, something creative that just unleashed something that I just never knew was there. I can't describe it. And so I started to, I went on Amazon. I got one of those white stick-on whiteboard things that you add to the wall.
Yes.
Got some dry erase markers, and I just started writing on the walls. I kid you not. I was writing on the walls. And, fortunately at the time, her roommate was also there. She was really awesome, welcoming, and was like supportive of the behavior. And I just started to write down what I was thinking about. And it eventually led to a one moment that where I was actually with my parents during the holidays, and I just was sitting in my old room, and just really getting all the memories of when I was a kid, and playing games, and Christmas, opening up the
Yeah.
presents with the Nintendo 64,
Oh my days.
the
Wow. Yeah.
getting a PS2 for the first time, and an Xbox, GameCube, Game Boy,
Yeah.
all
That was my one. The Game Boy was definitely my one.
oh, so good, so good. But it was all those kind of wonderful, beautiful memories came into my brain, and I just sat down and I was like, because I was going to the new year, I had no clients at the time. I was like, something's got to change,
Yeah.
and what can I do? And then I just was like, what do I love to play? And it was role playing games. I love role playing games. I love fantasy. And I was like, how can I combine that with fitness?
Yeah.
How can I combine this awesome thing that I think everyone would just love experiencing with fitness? And it started to look at how these different people train in the gym, right? There's so many different ways you can approach physical activity. You can go for a run. You could go to Pilates class, right? You could train like a bodybuilder. You can do powerlifting and try to get ultra strong. You do strongman. You could train with your body weight and do calisthenics. There's so many ways you can approach health and fitness differently. And I was like, that's exactly like classes in role playing games, which is like your character archetype.
Yes.
That was the bridge right there. It is the first decision most people make in role playing games is choosing their archetype. How do they want to play? And that was the big bridge when I was like, oh my God, it's exactly like fitness. A barbarian in a role playing game is no different than a bodybuilder in real life. Personality trait wise, aesthetics, you name it. And that was how it all started, was really combining my passion and my purpose together. And you brought up one thing that I want to bring up too is really looking at stepping into that creative uncertainty and doubt,
Yes. Yeah.
right? I cannot describe how many times I tried to talk myself out of this. This won't work. No one understands this. This is something that I've never seen before. How are people going to get this? Oh, this is too risky, right? I went through all of that, and I mentioned before we hopped on that persistence was my middle name.
Yes.
I kept being persistent, and I told myself that what I see in my mind, I can manifest and create. And that's all I wanted to do because I knew the impact that it could have on people's lives. And I'm so grateful that I never gave up, and I stayed persistent because it has impacted so many lives. It's transformed so many lives
Yes.
just really looking at all the incredible people that I helped, that is truly what drives me to stay persistent and to continue to manifest and grow and evolve what I created. So,
See, all the things that you said when you were talking about, you know, not wanting to do it for whatever reasons. Anytime you get those things into your head, one thing I've learned in life, the more self-doubt you give yourself of people won't do this, people won't invest in it, people won't like it, that gives you more reason of why you should do it, because nobody else is doing it. It's different, it's creative, it's fun. You might not understand it first of all, but when you get into it and your body starts to feel it, and your body starts to give off all those hormones that they say, that I learned about as well, you'll find that your body wants more of it. And the more you do something, the more you want it. And that's one of the most fundamental things that I've learned in life as well, which also brings me to the science part.
yes.
So, right, this is the part that I love. I'm a big science fan. I'm a geek. So,
Yes.
so this is okay.
Let's geek out.
Let's geek out for a second. So, fundamentally, when it comes to science and fitness, I would love for you to dig deeper into it, and you're most probably going to give me far more knowledge than I know myself. So, Walter, when it comes to binding science with fitness, can you go a little bit technical for us so that we understand it, and also go into the different, how can I say, the different types of fitnesses that you can do with science so that people understand it a bit more?
Yes. So science is at the core of everything that I do in fitness, but
Yes.
also everything that I do in the gamification aspect as
Okay.
well.
Yes.
So there is a lot of psychology that is built into games and game design.
Yes.
The biggest drivers is dopamine, right? We want that reward for
That's the
doing
one.
anything,
That is the one.
right? It's driven from scrolling on your phone. It could be, accomplishing a goal, a weight loss goal that you've been wanting to have, right? And it is so, again, physiologically, we are just driven to almost unconsciously achieve these things and do these things. We will always find a way to kind of get that release somewhere in something. So why not allocate that and understand our physiology and do that in a way that's fun and engaging, like you're playing a game. And games have been designed scientifically to engage you and to keep you engaged. So a, a very great connection is mobile games.
Yes.
Mobile games have d- driven so deep into the science and the psychology of how can we not only get you to download our game and play it, but how can we keep you here? Because statistically, the longer you play a game, the more money you spend.
That is true.
I'm
That
sure
is
there's
true.
people who've played Candy Crush, all those popular games, Farmville, anything on mobile. They are literally trying to exploit and take advantage of those scientific physiology that is deep within our bodies. So for me, myself, and when I was creating Infinite, is how can we leverage all of those reward centers in our brain, right? How can we leverage all of those things that are involved from a nutritional standpoint to fuel our bodies, fuel our energy, fuel our performance when we're working out so that we can actually generate progress and results, whether that's strength, mobility, so on and so forth. How can we leverage that and drive progress in a positive way that ultimately leads to transformation? And that's where the science really comes in. Is it's really backed in our core foundation and our core ideology, right? Is ethically, how can we use science to help people is the big thing.
Yes.
other people might not think about it that way. They might be like, oh, how can we extract more money from people with this great idea?
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
No, 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 no. We are in the business of transformation. We do not survive, we do not grow, and we can't help more people if we don't help people.
Yeah.
So, how we actually do that is we leverage a lot of our strategies and our programming based on a lot of proven scientific techniques
Okay.
from a nutritional standpoint, for example. I have a lot of background in nutritional science when it comes to complete beginners in weight loss and fat loss to advanced competitors, like, for example, bodybuilders who are trying to truly create the best physique they possibly
Yeah.
can, lowest body fat percentage you can get. And that all
Yeah.
requires a proven scientific approach. And we, more importantly, the fun aspect is really leveraging games, studying the hundreds, if not thousands, of games that I've played. That was the creative part of me is to really go back for a second. I was not always a creative person. I consumed a lot of content. I was primarily consuming, but there was always a part of me that wanted to create. I just did not have the ability. I didn't have the tools. I didn't have the ability. And that's what I believed. That's truly what I believed. And guess what? There was a self limiting belief.
Uh-huh.
See, it was a self limiting belief because I was afraid to create because I of that criticism, that self limiting, that self doubt, right?
Yeah. That
Until I started
self-sabotage. Yeah.
until I started creating, and it started with music. I was like just mixing, just I was like, oh, it would be cool if I could combine this song and this song together, and that's really what it started. And I showed it to my friend, and I had that one friend that was like, whoa, you made this? So I really do believe when it comes to fueling that creative ability, having that support system that to
Yes.
really give you that boost of motivation to continue to create is huge. But I leveraged that creativity, even though I couldn't necessarily create, I was creating in my mind all of these systems, all of these things that were hooking me into these games, and I was memorizing them. I love this part of this game. I love this aspect of this game. I love this brand new mechanic. And I took an audit and I consumed all of that. And instead of me just playing a game and just being, oh, am I happy or sad or am I having fun? I was like, how does this work? Why did they implement this? So that led to me understanding the science behind these games. Oh, so they put this glowing sword in this game to really get you excited to want to get it. Oh, I always thought it was just there. So there's so much in the psychology space and the science space that really dives into those reward centers in our brain, and we implement we implement a lot of that, and that's the foundation of everything we implement because science is feedback, it's data, and you can use that data to drive progress and results for your health and fitness. So that's just a little bit of like the fitness and science, how that's interconnected to how we do fitness and also gaming. And it really is taken to a whole nother level when you combine all what I call is our three attributes together, which is the physical aspect, the mental
Yes.
aspect, and
Yeah.
the nutritional aspect together, which is what most people are missing in their life. They
Okay.
either focus 100% on the physical aspect and they're like, I'm going to work out as hard as I possibly can, but then they neglect the nutritional aspect.
Yes.
And then they neglect the mental aspect with consistency, self control, discipline. So,
Those are the
ev-
hard ones, Walter.
oh, I know, I dropped the big ones on you. it's all interconnected, and they're all skill sets. That's
Yes.
that's truly what I learned from the science, is that it can all be improved, and it's just a matter of having them, each one of those areas, work together in a way that's fun, that's engaging, that is driven through our core drives for motivation, truly the
Yes.
things that drive us to take action, which is the bridge and the gap that I've been trying to fill ever since I started my own journey of understanding, why do people do things? And science is the
Yes.
answer.
I like that. I like the way you broke that down. I also, I always said I wish I could read minds, but then life would be too easy then. But
Oh man, I don't know about that. That's oof.
it's just finding out, and even for me, hearing about the scientific side of it. A lot of people do struggle with the nutrition side, I find.
Hmm.
Um, a lot of people go to the gym, and I see it myself. A lot of people go to the gym. Some people are very self-aware, and they find it hard to go to the gym because they're worried about how people will look at them.
Hmm.
But my next question for you, Walter, is I know each individual have a different strategy when you work with them to be
Hmm.
able to work out, do nutrition, and also gaming as well. But say, for example, if I came to you and I said, Walter, I want to do this, I want to be part of what you're doing in order for me to get fit, how would it work? Me coming to you as a client, because I know so many people are like, okay, we've heard the gaming side, we've heard
Hmm.
the science side, but if I want to go to Walter and be part of this, how would it work?
Yeah, that's the beauty of what we created. Is it all started with doing one-on-one coaching,
Yes.
right? As a personal trainer, that's how I started, working with people one-on-one, and then expanding online to the online space and reaching people all over the world. And what I created is truly unique experiences and unique platforms that each individual can leverage based on their own individual needs.
Yes.
Not everyone needs to get their hand held, right? There's a lot of people out there that, hey, I just want to figure things out myself. Just give me the tools, the resources,
Yes.
give me the freedom, and just give me some type of guidance when I need help.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the experience that we created, which we call the Infinite Dungeon. And it's a place where you can kind of take our tools, take the resources, take those proven scientific approaches that I've implemented with hundreds of people that and gotten incredible results. And it's just a matter of you tweaking it, customizing it, sharpening it, and experimenting with it, but doing it in a way that is going to drive progress and results.
I like
So
it.
it's really self guided. So there's that self guided experience that we have. And then there's the self educational experience where you are learning about the science so that
Yes.
you can actually reapply that indefinitely, right? Because once you understand the why behind what you're doing, you
Yes.
can truly implement it as effectively as possible. And something I learned from Jim Quick from that book, Limitless, is the best way to learn is to teach. Because when you teach, you get to learn it twice.
Yes, true.
And that's the power of education. So we have something called the Infinite Academy, where I recorded interactive videos that are literally teaching you everything about nutrition. What are macros? What are micronutrients? How many calories do I need to eat? What are calories? Why are they important for weight loss? What's the difference between weight loss and fat loss?
Yes.
How do I focus on one? What are the myths that I might be following and believing, right? So we teach the science in the academy, but doing that, we do that in an interactive and gamified way where
Yes.
you're completing quests and you're earning XP and you're leveling up and you're getting these celebration confetti coming on when you level up, and it's like you makes your brain feel good and everything feels great, and you're like, I'm making progress. Let's go. That's the experience that we have in there, but we take it to a whole nother level, and we have that in a group environment. So we do group learning, and I teach every week. We all hop online in a Zoom
Right.
call,
Yeah.
and this is now your opportunity to ask a wizard any question that you have, and you get to learn from other people as well. That's the best part, is other people who have that shared goal as you, right, on that are on the same level as you now can ask them questions and be part of a community and grow with these people. And for me, I love this experience so much because I get to coach a group of people, right? And it's just so fun just seeing people grow, ask and answering questions live, right? It's not,
Yes.
oh, let me send you a message, right? So that's the academy. And then the last experience that we have is what we call as the infinite sanctum. That's truly
Wow.
the personalized mentorship experience, where this is for the person that is like, just tell me what to do. We craft every aspect from a nutritional standpoint, training standpoint, and mental standpoint. We truly break down the psychology of how you think and what you do, what your goals are, why you want these goals, and what's driving that motivation. We look at your lifestyle, your work schedule, sleep schedule, everything that can cause that stress,
Yes.
right? And we truly make a personalized and customized experience. And that has driven the fastest results, like incredible transformations that I've seen, because we really dedicate a lot of time and a lot of attention, a lot of care to everything that we're doing. And it, again, this is for the person who can really test that skill set of how well you can follow directions. Because I always say this, your ability to follow directions will determine your maximum potential and how quickly you progress.
That
So
is true.
it's a different experience and a different platform for all these different types of people who have different needs, right? And I think that's the beauty of it, is when you come in, we give you that freedom and that choice to
Yes.
personalize and really create your own adventure. And I love how we're not siloing you and being like, you have to do one-on-one coaching in order to get to your goals, or you have to teach yourself everything with education. It's like, no, if you're a learner, go into the academy. Hey, if you just want some tools, you want to leverage our apps or game-like experience to get to your goals, and you want to create your own program, go into the dungeon. And it's like, hey, you really want to get an expert in your corner, a wizard to guide you on your adventure like Gandalf? There you go. You can hire me, or you could hire my other head wizard, or potentially as our team grows, you can really get the
Yeah.
right person that fits your personality type. So yeah.
See, I'll be in the dungeon quite a lot, to be quite fair. But
Yes.
so, the dungeon. So I've just thought of a very, very spontaneous question to ask you.
Oh, shoot it.
Right.
Let's go.
So let's say you have all these awesome, masks behind you, and they're completely awesome, the swords and everything behind you. So in my head, I went, if Walter had a dream team of famous people, and when they took off the helmet, it was, a different individual,
Uh-huh.
and say there were a few, we can go with a few, who would be under those helmets to work with you to do the fitness? That's awesome.
Ooh, okay, so me coaching them or them being
Them being part of your team. So for example,
oh.
all of you were wearing a helmet, and you all had
Uh-huh.
a sword in your hand, and you had a a line of clients, for example.
Uh-huh.
So the clients are coming in and they're going to go to each individual, but they don't know that they're famous people. They don't know, Walter. Only you know that they're famous people because you're about to choose them.
Yep.
Now, they're going to reveal themselves by taking off their helmets. Who would they be underneath those helmets? Your
Wow.
kind of dream team.
My dream team. Well, first person, 100% would be Dr. John Russin.
Oh, that's a good one.
He is the founder of the Pain Free Performance Specialist organization. He is the one. He got honored as one of the top 50 fitness experts in the world, and he is someone that completely transformed how I approach training around longevity, around
Nice.
pain, and injury prevention. And he's had such a massive impact on my personal life, on all of my clients, and he is a figure that is, he would just, when he would take that helmet off, I would just go crazy because he's one of the most intelligent individuals I've ever had the pleasure of having a conversation with. Like, he is so smart, so intelligent, and I know he would lead all of these people down a healthy, pain-free life. So he would be my number one. Number two, I would say Dr. Lane Norton. And he is huge in the nutrition space. I've learned so much about nutrition. He certified me. I have 3 certifications from him, and he is one of those individuals where he walks the walk and talks the talk. And he loves science and he loves data, and he is someone that is still pushing his body and his mind even in his 40s in powerlifting. And he's a powerful figure in the nutrition space. And I believe he can truly guide individuals towards just a better ideology around data and science and nutrition. So Dr. Lee Norton would be number 2. Is this a top 3 or?
You can let's do 4 because then
Okay.
there'll be 5 of you and it will look like an
Okay.
awesome. When you're walking through, I can just see it. It'll be awesome. So you got 2 more.
I would have to choose my fiance for number 3, and
like
it's not in any particular order, by the way.
I like that.
She is my rock. She's everything. She's everything that I've dreamed of in a woman, in a partner, and in a friend. And she has been supportive since day one, and I didn't ask her to. She saw the belief, she saw the energy, she saw the passion, and she wanted to be a part of that. And there is no better person that I would have in that lineup than her. So.
You know what? I will say this. When you find someone like that, hi fiance, by the way. When you find someone like that, you hold on to them with both hands.
I got my feet, my toes, my nose. Everything's holding on for life.
So I love that. So you've got 1 more to add onto your list.
1 more. Wow, this is so difficult. You have no idea. I was so easy coming out of the gate. Number 4. Oh, wow. And this has to be a real life person, not fantasy, right?
Oh. Well, remember you have clients.
Yes, so they have to actually be able to serve and guide. Okay.
Unless we put them in the fantasy realm.
True.
Because remember, it's gaming, so you can put anyone anywhere at that particular time.
That is true. Number 4, I want to lean towards a figurative person. And it's actually a person that I created in our story and our lore in Infinite. And his name is Valoran. And he is essentially a wizard that he's the first grandmaster wizard of Infinite, and he is like a personification of who I aspire to be, as a guide, as a servant, and as a source of knowledge and wisdom.
Yes.
And he's a culmination of all of these people, myself and many other people that I would also include if I had like a team of like more people. But yeah, he is, I believe, a gateway for people to truly connect to the guiding and serving aspect of Infinite, which is something that I want to build with an actual team, is really build a guild, so to speak, of individuals who truly want to impact and change, transform lives. And
Yeah.
that is, I believe he is that bridge to show people of who they can become and the impact that they can have on other people all over the world. So, yeah, I thought I'm gonna end it with that fun one.
You
Yeah,
know what? That's a powerful team you have right there. That is a powerful
almost
team.
Avengers level, you know.
No, it's a powerful team, and that will happen. I always say, I know you said that you want to have a team, like that, or when you have a team like that, but
Mhm.
always say you will. I always say to people, always say you will, or you have it already, and it is yours. Believe me, because I always say people's thoughts are powerful, and what you think is always what you become, as they say.
Ooh,
So,
very true.
so I have one for you that I feel will resonate with you. And
Hmm.
that is, a lot of time we are judged based upon who we are, what we look like, and so on and so forth. A lot of these judgments cast something within us
Hmm.
to make us either rebel or not want to become who we want to become. If I said to you, Walter, I'm going to take the word judgment out of the dictionary,
Hmm.
and I'm going to say to you, if the word judgment did not ever exist, what do you believe that you would have done differently in your life, knowing that there is no judgment apart from your own free will to be who you are?
Wow, that's a powerful question as well. I would take more risks.
Mm-hmm.
I would jump. I probably would have jumped more deeply into creativity, without fear of being judged of the end result, and really kind of learn to love the process and the journey, and to
Yes.
truly understand how it is providing me fulfillment, mastery, growth, and I kind of actually think about that now, even with things that we're creating in Infinite, right? Because there are new people discovering us every single day, and
Yes.
there's such an awesome amount of people who just see it and they're like, "This is the best thing I've ever seen," and it's like, oh my god, it makes me feel so fulfilled to know that like my creation is something that hits people in that area. But then there's that subset of people who are like, this is terrible. I don't like this. This is fake, or whatever that may be, right? And if there was no judgment, and there was just infinite creativity, that would just drive so much more fulfillment in my life and other people's lives who can really gravitate towards it and really see how it could benefit and change their life. So, like you said, judgment is a part of life, right? But it's truly how we respond to that, and truly where we focus on the most, right? So I choose to focus on the people that I can empower, that I can elevate, right? And that's what I want to do more of. I want to, I hope to impact millions of lives one day, and that's truly the clarity that I need in my life to really circumnavigate through the cloudy judgment that is I have to inevitably navigate through, almost like as if it's a forest, right?
Yep.
And there's this fog, and I have to weed through the fog to focus on the light, the light that's in between the fog, and it's those individuals that I can empower and transform. So
I always, one thing I will say to you, you will get to millions of people. Ugh, without doubt. You will get, and I've learned something in life. I always say to people, show me who you are at your worst. If you are beautiful at your worst, then I will abundantly take you at your best. And that's how I see it. And that's how I see it. That's how it will always be. And the right people will come to you naturally because they will just manifest to you.
And
That's
they have. And they have.
There you go.
We have a small team now, but if it wasn't for each one of these individuals, I would have not this dream, this manifestation. I don't think it would have happened because I would have lost that belief, right? And it's everything starts with belief,
There you
right?
go.
So I completely agree with you, and thank you so much for your encouragement. This is empowering to me to have another person believe in me that way, and that truly drives me every day. And this is going to give me such a powerful boost for a long time, by the way. So I'm
That's
gonna be
what it's
like,
there for.
Savia said I could hit millions. So we're
You can, honestly, you can. Sometimes when we as creative people start something, we always have this, is anybody going to listen,
yeah.
to my voice? And I was even like that when I first started, and I can say it on the podcast. And I'm sure everyone kind of knows that when I first started, I didn't think anybody would listen to my voice. And then long and behold, it started to slowly get together with people, and then you start to realize your purpose, that how you let people tell stories in their unique way
Mm-hmm.
helps other people as well. So it's like a circle. I call it the gold circle effect. That's what I call it.
Reciprocity,
because it goes round.
Right?
There you go, and it goes round, and everyone just So I only have 2 more for you, my dear. And I remember speaking about peace. And that is a fundamental part of who we are and what we kind of, some people, not everyone, and I understand why, strive to find that element of peace in their life. When was the last time that you believe that you felt totally at peace with yourself?
Ooh, I'm gonna sit on that. When I was creating Infinite.
Fair enough.
When I, was with the love of my life, and I knew she was the love of my life, and I had my family who was healthy at the time during COVID, and I remember sitting in those memories of the past, right? Sitting in the vision of the future.
Yes.
And being in the present and living all of that simultaneously was one of those moments in my life where I was like, I don't want to bring trauma to individuals who had a terrible, horrific experience during that time. But I will always say that was the best time of my life. I discovered myself. I discovered who I can be and what I can create, and I discovered my love, and this was like that first moment in my life where I said, you know what, I'm gonna follow the path that I create and the path that I believe is my purpose, full on, 100%, without holding back, and I will either succeed or I will succeed, and there's no other option.
I like that because a lot of people in the world have a plan A and a plan B. You just went straight for plan A, and then you said there's no plan B. And usually it's those people who succeed because they have no plan B.
And I have to say, in hindsight, it was very risky. The process and the journey was Very difficult. It was arguably the
Yes.
most difficult journey I've ever been on in my life, because of all the other factors that are out of my control and also in my control. And I, for those listening that truly want to jump completely into what they believe and what they want to create, I highly recommend you have security first. Like, do not empty your bank account like I did to create this vision, okay?
Why not? We both did, and it worked.
And I have to say, like, it almost didn't, you know? It's like, it was very risky. And honestly, I would say make sure you have security first and then, like, maybe build this on the side, you know? So that you're not sacrificing like your livelihood or your family. Like, you don't want to lose your house, or
Mm.
anything like that. Like, I highly recommend that. But yeah, that journey, and it was really that process of discovering myself, discovering my love, and discovering what I can create. That was the most blissful time in my life, and um, I'm continuously trying to create more of those experiences and moments as we continue to grow Infinite, as I continue to grow my love, and continue to impact more lives. And I also want to add that I also have that feeling every time I see someone transform,
Mm.
because it really took that one person for me that said, "Hey, you changed my life." That gives me that feeling, and it's that feeling that drives me. It gives me purpose, and it reminds me of why I do what I do.
See, and you found your purpose. That's exactly what it is. You found your inspire. You know when you see a glow in someone and they get excited and their eyes go wide. That's you, Walter, right now. That's definitely you, and I've seen that a few times in a few people, and I'm like, yes, they're doing their purpose. So my last one for you, Walter, before I have the pleasure of saying thank you, is I would love for everyone to be able to find you on social medias.
Mhm.
I've been lucky to find you, you know, on social media platforms myself. So I would love for everyone to be able to find you. Please tell us where we can find you.
Yes, so you can find myself and Infinite if you'd like to dive in, see if it is your vibe, and if you'd like to get our support at fitnessfantasyrpg.com. Again, we have a lot of free resources. We have something called the bronze tier membership, where you can get access to literally hundreds of resources that I've created over the past decade plus. Things that I've created for clients, science and education that I've spent thousands of dollars. I literally give all for free, for those self educators. And then we also have our three platforms as well, based on your own individual goals. You can find me literally on every platform, Facebook, IG, Twitter, at Infinite Walt. That's InfitniteWalt. You can also search up Walter Chambers as well, and I may or may not be the first one popping up in Google. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of SEO. I was able to work with a few companies, and Google searches go up, so you'll be able to find myself there. Or you can also search Infinite Infitnite on Google, and I'm sure we'll pop up as well. So lots of ways to discover us and discover myself, and feel free to reach out. I'm always open to having conversations as well, and guiding you any way I can.
Walter, this is where I say thank you so much for coming on the Ask People podcast, for showing us your vulnerability, for showing us your humor, who you are, but more than anything, your passion to help educate even more people to find out what their purpose is in life. I am abundantly grateful, so thank you so much.
Thank you, Savia, and I want to end with this as well. Your potential is truly in your own hands. There's nothing stopping you from becoming infinite, and all you have to do is play the game.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that is a good way to end the show, guys. that is an abundant way to end the show. So this is where I say thank you so much for listening to the Us People podcast. And please remember, you can subscribe and leave us a review on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or any other platform that you prefer listening to. You can also donate to the Us People podcast and hear more inspiring stories by going on the Us People podcast website and clicking on the community page. You can also listen to me and the Us People podcast every Thursday at 8 p.m. UK time on Apple TV, Fire TV, Freeview Channel 271, YouTube, LCBN. You can also listen to the Us People podcast on Wednesday when we repeat an episode of the Us People podcast on Heart Songs Live at 9 p.m. UK time for you guys to listen to. On Tuesdays, where we play the latest episode of the Us People podcast. But don't just listen to the most recent one. Find one that resonates with your soul. You've got 6 episodes, or seasons I should say, for you to be able to listen to. And this is one of the most important parts I will say to you guys is thank you for listening. Stay happy, stay positive, and as always from me, please continue to be kind to one another. Take care.
Society has made me want to validate me from my illusion that awaits me, from how the people will perceive me. It's my illusion that awaits me. We fight our war with ourselves. Our mental health is silencing us from our heart. Social media is taking our time.
Work out. So there you go. So yeah.
You're so supportive. I enjoyed the questions so much. Those were, and I'm like, when I was processing those questions, I'm like, how did you come up with those questions? Is the question
So
I was going in.
I have, so being a writer has always been something that I'm very passionate about. And I always say to somebody, I listen thoroughly to a way that a person articulates themselves and the words that they choose to articulate themselves, which is fundamentally important, which tells me a lot about them, how they feel about themselves, and how they express themselves.
You're like, yeah. And you know what's funny too? This is how my brain works. Like, you taught me something, right? You taught me your writing skills and how you were able to formulate those questions, right? I just applied it. And a word that stuck out to me that you mentioned during the podcast and just right now is abundance. And it's funny you mentioned that word, because I used to journal about that word all the time, and then I stopped journaling about it. And I think part of it is like what I opened up the podcast was that blissful dissatisfaction aspect, which was like, I am in state of bliss, but I'm also dissatisfied because I know we can impact more people. I know we could accomplish more, you know? And it's like, that's the abundance part that I'm like, I want that. Give me that, you know? So,
You'll get that. Trust me, you'll get that.
Yeah.
Sometimes in life, you can see where people are going, even if they can't see the vision of themselves.
Why we dance on TikTok? Why we dance on TikTok? Why we dance on TikTok? Why we dance on TikTok?